Hello, welcome to another developer diary. In this developer diary, I'm going to talk about fear, but not fear in the context of games, but fear in the context of releasing a game, because we're getting there for Neverending Nightmares. We're more or less on track for the end of September, which is the date that we've been shooting for, essentially after the Kickstarter finished. On the Kickstarter, I think I had August, but I thought that we would be working the month of the Kickstarter, which we did not, because A, I didn't know if we were going to finish the Kickstarter, so we'd be burning through our small amount of savings. And B, doing the Kickstarter was a full-time job. So basically, a lot of the team took a break while I was doing the Kickstarter, and then I think it was October of last year was when we resumed production after the demo. So we're a month behind, but I think, well, no one has complained, and certainly when I look at a lot of Kickstarter projects, a lot of them don't seem to be shipping on time or anywhere close to it. I think it's tough to schedule an indie project, and certainly we slipped a lot on Retrograde, but I don't want to slip on Neverending Nightmares for several reasons. One, I feel like I owe it to my backers. My backers are expecting a game at a certain time, and I would like to give it to them then. And then also, we want to get out before Halloween. We think that's a really good time for a horror game, and also, we're going to be spending all of the money we made on the Kickstarter and Free the Games Fund and more. So it's definitely important to us to not go too much in personal debt, because there are no guarantees in video games. Maybe everyone will overlook Neverending Nightmares and purchase something else instead. I mean, I don't know. But I mean, certainly when you look at the numbers, on Retrograde, in terms of sales, it is quite possible to make a good title and not see very much in return. Which, I mean, certainly we're doing everything in our power to not run into that problem. But fingers crossed. You never know. But we don't want to. We want to make sure we can keep this company afloat. So we don't want to go into personal debt. So anyway, but it's scary, to be this far away from release. I mean, like 3 months, and, see so much work left to do. Because, I mean, basically there's 3 nightmares. We have 6 nightmares in the game, and that's like one path to the ending. And this is all in the 0.5 build. And, maybe it takes 2 hours to play. But we want to get in 3 more nightmares. It's going to be tough, because these would be sort of like the fastest turnaround on nightmares ever for us. But we have, the tech is basically in place. We have a lot of the art files, we're going to use for them. The mansion is built out. A lot of the locations are built out. And it was tough getting new assets. I mean, the asylum took us 2 months, I think, to do that level, and we're still working on it. We're still here and there when we have some extra time, putting in some new closer looks. I think I think the Asylum at this point, well, there's maybe one more thing I want to get in, but I guess we can live without that. But I mean, basically, we can call the Asylum done. Um, let's see. The baby level, there's more I want to do. There's more interactions I want to get in. But I mean, I'm pretty satisfied with most of the content in our game. The final level, of course, needs a lot more polish. But we've actually, since we released, I guess it was no, it was, I guess it was earlier this week. I'm filming this on Friday the 27th. But since we released the build, I guess on Wednesday morning, was it Tuesday morning? We've actually come a long way on the on the Asylum on the final level. There's a lot of cool new things, and it's a lot closer to what we had in mind. So let's see. But it's scary, having, this looming question mark of how many nightmares we want to get in, and not having a ton of time. So that's kind of terrifying. But also, I mean, it's scary to think about how the game will be received. And so, like, on the developer... No, on the survey for the 0.5 build, we have questions. One of the questions is that I asked, well, we're shooting for a target price of $14.99, and one of the big reasons why we're doing that, well, I mean, the main reason now is because, that's what we charge Kickstarter backers besides the early birds. And so it would be unfair, I think, to say, oh, never mind, we're going to drop the price. And then the other reason, I think, is because you do a lot of your units at discounts. And so I imagine someone would buy a game for $3.74, that they would buy for $2.49. I imagine that, $1.25 is not going to change someone's purchase decision. Those are basically 75% off deals. But for us, that's 50% more profit, and so I think that's kind of important. So even if we sell less at, full list, I think it'll help us make more money on discounts. And I mean, obviously, I don't know, but also I like the idea that our game is sort of worth more than, $10. I don't know. Maybe I just overvalue the game, but I think we're putting together something really high quality. But anyway, so then on the survey, I say, is it worth $14.99? And one person's like, I mean, we only have like 9 responses or something, but one person's like, yes, totally, it's worth more, and another person's like, yeah, definitely. And then 5 people or something are like, yeah, it's a little short. And then 2 people said, definitely not, you do have a lot of work to do in the next 3 months. And so I guess firstly I probably should explain the purpose of that question. The purpose of the question was basically, I think people are not great at extrapolating, and probably well, I mean, I'm a game developer, I've been doing this for 11 years, so probably I'm better than most, but it's tough to extrapolate, where a game will end up from, where we are now in 3 months. And I think, I'm not even quite sure exactly, but, I think some people may say, oh, 3 months is all the time in the world, the game's going to be amazing, or other people say, oh, it's only 3 months, it's not going to be too different. Which, I mean, I don't know, probably, I'm hoping the answer is somewhere in between. We'll add all this new cool stuff. But, I mean, fundamentally the game isn't going to change. So, basically, I was just trying to see where people are at, in terms of value based on where we are right now. And probably I shouldn't ask questions that I won't like the answer to, because two people, said definitely not. That's kind of hard to read, especially because these are, backers who are enjoying the game and who presumably paid at least $35 for alpha access. But they feel like they got their pledge money's worth, which was a different question. And certainly I'm not trying to shame them or whatever. I appreciate the candor, but I'm just trying to figure out, if this is something I should be afraid about, if what we're going to be doing in the remaining 3 months is going to be sufficient, but in general, I'm afraid. And I mean, some of the thing is that, like, we asked some questions about the story, and I mean, I think the story is pretty cool. I don't think anyone, maybe one person, like, loves it, but I mean, to me, like, the story is going to be weird, and it's only going to get weirder with the other endings, and I'm kind of scared about that too, because, some people are like, maybe you'll explain what this means in another ending, and, well, certainly I won't be explaining this ending in another ending, because the other ending will sort of completely invalidate this ending. And then, some people are like, oh, it's open-ended, I want to know what, all the details, and I kind of want to keep it open-ended, because to me it's about the nightmares. It's not about what actually happened, and to some extent that's the point of the having the multiple endings, which are essentially going to be contradictory, I'll tell you that right now, is that basically I'm hoping people will sort of dig deeper and just look at the content in the nightmares and try and pick up on the emotional themes and see how they relate to mental illness. So that's what I'm hoping to do. Will it work? I don't know. I mean, to some extent, we're taking a lot of risks on this project, and certainly I'm very risk averse in general. But I mean, I think if you just play it safe, then you're never going to create something super interesting, or something that really stands out. So, I mean, I guess I hope we're just taking the necessary risks. But I mean, in general, I'm really afraid, and there's lots of scary things. I watch a lot of playthroughs and I think on game trailers, they did like an indie playback, and some people thought the baby monster looked funny or something like that, and I don't know, someone else said, or maybe it was the same person, said the candle fire looked like they were drawn in MS Paint, which, oh, I was really proud of my fire effect. It's actually a procedural, all the flames are different and random, and they have different elements, and it's like a mesh, and multiple meshes, and complicatedness. And I was really happy with it. I mean, because, some games, they just have a hand-drawn flame, and then it, plays at, I don't know, 15 frames a second or 13 frames a second, or not 13, I was going to say 30. But ours is this, and then my wife says that they're dancing, which I guess is kind of true. I mean, it's sort of based on oscillations. My wife thinks they're dancing. I don't know. Hopefully, in reviews, people don't just say, terrible flame effect, because then I don't know, cry a lot. But, I mean, it's I guess, the point of this story was not to get all sad and emo about my flame effect. The point is just that, it's really tough to put a game out there, especially one that's so personal and means so much to me. It's really tough to put it out there. And so I'm definitely worried, about the reception. I'm worried that people will just sort of laugh or shrug it off or not appreciate all the things we did. But I mean, that's the risk of, creating something. And I think there's, I have to man up, grow a pair, and put the game out there, and you know, hope for the best, plan for the worst, or something. I don't know. I mean, I just hope that the game is well received and sells well, so I can keep doing this. But I mean, it's scary. It's really scary. So I don't know. It seemed like I went on some tangents instead of just focused on the scariness, but it's definitely scary. So anyway, thanks for watching.